Good morning, friends. My name is Miss Beth, and I'm excited to talk with you about a story that many of you probably already know. It's the story of Noah and the huge boat called an ark that he built. But more importantly than building the ark for all of the animals and his family, we learn about how important it is to trust God, to listen to God, and that God will keep his promises. Because we are learning together on video, you can pause at any time to participate in the activities. First, we're going to talk about promises and why they are so important to keep. Talk with your group about what you think a promise is. Try to name a promise that you've made to someone. Did you keep that promise? Pause now to have that discussion. Welcome back. I think that a promise is something that you say you will do, like, I promise to help clear the table for a week. Or, if I can have a puppy, I promise that I'll feed him and I'll take him to the bathroom. Sometimes it's easy to keep the promise, but sometimes we make a promise, then we don't keep it or we don't remember it after a while. Lots of times when someone we trust makes a promise, we believe that they will do what they say, like God. Listen to some promises I'm going to make to you. If you believe that I can keep my promise, I want you to stand up. And if you don't think I can keep my promise, I want you to shake your head no. So here we go. I promise to give everyone $1 million. What do you think? If you think I will do that, then stand up. And if you don't think I can do that, shake your head no. So here's another one. I promise to try hard to be a good friend. What do you think? Here's another one. I promise that you will get perfect grades in school this year. Can I keep that promise? Last one. I promise to pray for you this week. Do you trust that I will keep that promise? Some of these promises are things that I can do, but some of them are not, like the $1 million. Sometimes we make promises that we can keep, and sometimes we make promises to make people happy or because we want something, like that puppy. These promises are not very wise promises. We learn from the Bible that when God makes a promise to his people, he always keeps it. He promises to care for us and be with us. He doesn't promise us that bad things won't happen, but he does promise that he will help us during those times. So let's get to our story about Noah. I have something for you to do, but you will have to listen very carefully to hear the words. Whenever I say God, I want you to fold your hands and bow your head. Now you do it. God. Whenever I say neighbors, I want you to cover your mouth and laugh. Now you do it. Neighbors. Whenever I say animals, I want you to make your favorite animal sound. Your turn. Animals. Last one. Raven, that's a big black bird, or dove. I want you to flap your arms like wings. Raven. Dove. Okay, here's our story. Listen carefully for your words. Remember, it's God, neighbor, animals, raven, and dove. One day, God looked at his beautiful earth and he said, he was unhappy. God said to Noah, "People are not taking care of my earth and are not listening to me. I asked them to obey me, to be kind to one another, and to care for each other." It made him sad because people seemed to be thinking about themselves more than God. Noah, however, was a good man. He loved and he obeyed God. And God loved Noah very much. God actually loved all the people as much as he loved Noah. But at the time, only Noah was listening to him. God told Noah to build an ark, a huge boat bigger than a football field. Noah listened and he started building. "Check out old Noah," his neighbors laughed. "What's he doing? Waiting for a flood?" They laughed at him because there wasn't any water in the desert where they lived. The next day, neighbors asked, "What are you going to put in that big boat?" Noah answered, "Animals and my family." This time the neighbors laughed so hard they almost fell over. God had told Noah that a great flood was coming, and Noah tried to warn the people to change their ways so that they could also hear God. But they wouldn't listen. When Noah was almost finished with the boat, his family started loading hay and grain and fruit inside. "Hey," the neighbors called out, "what are you putting in there now?" "Food," said Noah. "For who?" they asked. "For my family and for the animals." The neighbors laughed even harder. When the ark was finished, God sent the animals to Noah, and he began loading them two by two. Then he loaded his wife and his three sons and their wives. When everyone was safe on the boat, God shut the door. The neighbors watched and laughed and wondered if they should be worried. Noah and his family and the animals lived in the ark for 7 days before the first raindrops fell. And then it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. So we're going to stop here a second and we're going to make our own rainstorm. First, I want everyone to rub your hands together. So it's just starting to rain. Now it's raining a little bit harder, so pat your fingers together. It's coming down a little bit harder now, so gently hit your legs. Here comes the really big part of your storm, so stomp your feet. Oh, so the storm is bad. It's coming down so hard. But now it's beginning to slow, so begin to hit your legs. Slow it down. It's getting softer, so pat your fingers together. Slower, so rub your hands. Slow it down. And our storm is over. Thanks for having this storm with me. So let's get back to this story now. The earth was covered with water, and the rain had stopped. One day, the ark bumped into a mountain. Noah knew that the water must be going down, and the earth was beginning to slowly dry out. Finally, Noah sent a raven out of the ark's window to look for land, and it never returned. A week later, he sent a dove to do the same thing. The dove couldn't find a place to rest, so it returned to the ark. Another week passed, and then Noah sent the dove out again. This time it came back with an olive branch. Noah knew that the water was low enough that a tree branch could show through. When Noah sent off the dove, a week later, it didn't return. It had found a place to live on dry land. Then God told Noah to come out of the ark. So out came Noah and his family and all the animals. After everyone left the ark, Noah prayed to God to thank him for keeping them safe. Suddenly, a beautiful bright rainbow filled the clouds. This was God's promise that he would never flood the whole earth again. So, now you've learned about Noah, who was listening and trusting God, his neighbors who were not listening to God, and God keeping his promise to Noah and to all the people and animals that he would never flood the entire earth again. So I'm not a very good singer, but I thought that we could sing a song about Noah and his God. If you want to find a noisemaker or just clap your hands, we can sing together. I'll pause if you're going to go find a noisemaker. Okay, this song goes to Have You Ever Seen a Lassie? It goes like this. I'll say the words and sing the tune, and then you can join me on the next one. The rainbow is a promise, a promise, a promise. The rainbow is a promise from God. He'll never, no, never, no, never, no, never. He'll never flood the earth. That's his promise from God. Okay, let's do it together. Are you ready? And I hope you have your noisemakers. I'm not using one because I didn't want to drown everything out. The rainbow is a promise, a promise, a promise. The rainbow is a promise from God. He'll never, no, never, no, never, no, never. He'll never flood the earth. That's our promise from God. Thanks for singing with me. Before we end, I'd like to give you one more thing to do. It's kind of like homework. As a family or a friend group, I want you to make a promise to one person in your group for something that you will do for them this week. The other thing is to make a promise to God for something that you will do for Him, like promise to pray every day, or read a Bible story to learn more about God or Jesus each day, or promise to take care of His earth or His animals by doing something special. When you're ready, come back to the group and we'll have our closing prayer. Welcome back. Thank you so much for spending time with me this morning so that we could learn together. I wish you a safe and a wonderful week ahead, and let's close in prayer. Dear God, thank you for keeping your promises to us by being with us. Help us trust you and listen to you the way that Noah did, and help us to make wise promises and keep them. We love you, Jesus. Amen. Thanks, friends. Bye.